Guys, what I'm doing today is I'm going to make and can some Spam. Now, what I got started before I started filming was I had two, I'll show you the package in just a second, boneless shoulder roasts, pork, and I just took them out of the cryo bag, and basically for now I just removed the fat cap because that's just a lot of fat. I had two unsmoked hams and they were a pound each, and I just diced them up, took the rind off, and now what I'm doing is I'm slicing this into large thick hunks, and I'm going to weigh out 10 pounds out of these two roasts. And then seeing where I'm at will tell me how much of this fat I can trim out of it, because I want fat, but I don't want it to be too fatty. Once I get that done, I chunk it up into strips, and then I will freeze it for about 45 minutes, and we will come back once we get to that stage. Hey guys, part two, real quick. We're gonna make this quick, fast, and in a hurry. I've got my meat. It's been in the freezer for 45 minutes. Ham and pork roast. I know that's a lot more than 5 pounds, but I'm doubling the recipe, which I will have below. So I'm going to grind some of this up real quick and show you how that goes, and then I will finish it off camera, and we'll meet you back after I'm done with that. Just switch back and forth between ham and pork. And if this grosses you out, you can by all means use gloves. Enough noise, I'll finish this off camera. Okay guys, part two, or take two. I've already did one batch of this. For some reason it did not record, so here we are again. Meat's all ground. I have my slurry mixed up, which, like I said, I'll post in the comments. Cornstarch, water, curing salt, sugar. The easiest way to incorporate it all and get the slurry together, especially when you're doing a batch this big, I found is do it in batches in my KitchenAid. So one batch of this recipe would fit perfectly in the KitchenAid, but like I said, I'm doubling it, so I'm doing it in thirds, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll do the rest of it off camera, and I will show you how to put it in jars. But you just take some of your mixture, very clean hands, no jewelry because it'll get all up in that. If you don't like the feel of raw meat, use gloves. Your kitchen, your rules. My kitchen, my rules. I do it how I want it. Don't come at me sideways in the comments or you'll get deleted. And then you just add a little bit of your slurry. Let it come together. It'll look like a loose meatloaf mixture. And then you turn it off and do your next batch. Okay guys, I told you I would be back, and I've got it all mixed together, and I'm getting ready to put it in jars. Now, the original recipe for this, you know, my kitchen, my rules, I put it in jars. I've done it. We've had no problems with it. That is not to say that this is an approved USDA recipe by any means. But you can take this same recipe and you can do it in the oven. That's the original thing for it. What you do at this stage is you would put it into 2 9x5 loaf pans, okay? And then you would press all the air bubbles out of it, and you would tightly cover it with aluminum foil. And then you would put it into a baking pan, where it could be in a water bath where the water is at least halfway up on the loaf pans. And then what you would do is you would cook it you would cook it at 250 until the internal temperature reached 155. And then you remove it from the oven, and you use a heavy object. The best thing you can do is get a brick, an actual house brick, and cover it in aluminum foil. And then you put that on top of it to press it down while it's still hot. And then you let it completely cool, and you place it into the refrigerator with the brick on it overnight. And then the next day you can remove it from the pan and eat it. What I do is I can it. I pressure can it. Just like I do my meatloaf or anything else I want to pressure can. Once again, don't come at me sideways. I know everything on the internet says this is not USDA approved. I got a hold of my extension office at the local university and asked them if they had tested this canner. They had indeed tested this canner, and they approve it, and they recommend using it. If you want to know stuff like that, get a hold of your local extension center. USDA does not approve things anymore. They actually let the universities at the extension centers do the approval. Okay, I've put my jars in. I'm letting them heat up. I've let them heat up. It has went through all of that, and it is time to fill them. The easiest way to fill them without making a horrible mess is in a piping bag. Okay, you take your jars out. You dump your water. Okay. Then you just take your piping bag. Keep your tip on the bottom so you get no air bubbles. And you want to leave a generous inch of headspace on these. Okay? Generous. And then you take your lid and your ring, which I should have over here, but I didn't. And then you put them on. Oh, it must be out of round. You put them on finger tight. Just fingertip tight. And then you get them back in the canner. Okay? Okay, the lid's been off long enough I can hold them. Alright, I'm going to finish filling these, and I have another canner, actually the exact same canner, on the other side of this camera. I'm going to get them both filled, get my jars going, and then I will be back to show you the next step on the canner. Okay guys, a step that I didn't do, so I took the jar that I just put in there back out. I forgot to wipe the rims down with vinegar, especially if you don't use the piping bag method and you spoon this in, and there could be anything on the rim, which if you do not use the piping bag, it will be not only all over the rim but everywhere else. You want to wipe your rims down with vinegar, put the lid fingertip tight, and get it back in the canner. But you have to clean it with vinegar or they'll not seal at all. Alright, so they're in there in both canners. Okay, so the next process in this kind of canner is you set your time and everything before you start the process, and we'll do a walkthrough on this canner some other time. But I've locked the lid down. Put the lid, make sure it is on vent and not can. Okay, and then see it says to fill jars. That's what we were doing. Then you proceed, and it's going to start heating. And it's just like any other pressure canner. It's got to build pressure up for so long before it can start the process. So It's going to heat the water. It's going to vent for 10 minutes. Once pressure's started, then it will beep again for me to close the regulator and put it on can instead of vent, and then it does everything itself. Like I said, we'll do a walkthrough on that later. We'll come back and show you what this is like whenever I take it out of the canner. Okay guys, it's done. The pressure has counted down. It's cooled. It's done at 10 minutes. After pressure dropped, it waited 10 minutes. I've waited another 5 minutes. The pressure lock is down. I can unlock it. There is no pressure at all. But before I take these out, I want to tell you, like I said, this is not the recommended method. This is my method. One thing I forgot to tell y'all whenever I was mixing this together, in the recipe, it calls for cornstarch. If you are going to pressure can, do not use cornstarch. I will post a link in the description of what I use. It is called Clear Gel. It is made specifically for canning to thicken like pie fillings and things like that. It is made to where it does not react like regular thickeners like flour and stuff that the USDA does not want you to use in canning. This is USDA approved thickening agent. It is a cornstarch based product, but I'm not exactly sure the science of it. It reacts to heat differently. But this is where we're at. Typically you should open these away from you, but my counters are so shallow, or I guess you'd say these are so deep and my shelf is so shallow, if I tipped it up like that, I would hit my counter. So I tip it up toward me, but I'm really careful to keep my face back. Now it looks like we did have a little siphoning go on, not a lot, but you pick them straight up, bring them over, forgive my cleanup mess, and then you'll set them out to cool for at least 12 hours. Typically you can tell if it's going to seal before then. They usually start sealing right away, but you don't tip them to get the water off the top. You do not wipe the water off the top or else it will make a false seal. It's still boiling inside, so that's, you can tell exactly how hot it got. But you let it seal, you let it set, and then you check your seals. It's 8 o'clock now. I will check my seals probably at 11 when I go to bed. And the ones that are not sealed, I will put in the refrigerator and run again tomorrow. Sometimes you don't get a seal. It happens. But they say to check them 12 hours or overnight after. Well, I don't like letting my food sit out that long without either being sealed or refrigerated. That's just, to me, asking for botulism. But I will cool it off if it is not sealed and put it in the refrigerator. And then tomorrow I will reprocess these for another 75 minutes and make sure they're sealed. But these pint jars, we have weighed the product inside, and we have weighed a
can of Spam.
Can of Spam. Thank you, cameraman, helping me out with my words. And they are the same weight. Now I don't know where you're at, but at my grocery store, Spam is right at $4 a can now. If you take the cost of everything it takes to make this, I can make, okay, right at $4 a can. That's right at with tax and everything else. I can make, okay, one of the picnic roasts today cost me $18. The ham cost me $4. Okay, so I can make this many cans of Spam for what I could get 5 cans of Spam with at the store. And I know exactly what's in it. I know exactly what I'm feeding my family. And, oh, there's some of the pings right now. And I'll tell you now, my family prefers the taste of this over the canned Spam because a few years ago they changed the formula in Spam. Don't really know what to, can't really tell you exactly what they changed it from. But they changed it. The taste and the texture changed. This will remind you of the older Spam. And you can make it as lean or as fat-filled as you want. It depends on just if you trim your pork or not. And that's it. That's canned Spam. My way. I hope it helps.